Good evening, boys and girls. It's time for another bedtime story with Miss Alonso. Tonight, I'm reading you the story called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Last night, my sister read to you what the little pigs say happened that evening. But this evening, I, Alexander T. Wolf, am here to tell my side of the story. My side of the story never gets shared, so I hope that you all will listen in on my story and learn that I really am not a big, bad wolf. So this evening, I'm going to read you the true story of the Three Little Pigs. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. Do you see where the E, it has the sticks and the brick and the straw? I'm so glad Miss Alonso is letting me share my side. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it is all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault. Wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. Look at that big cheeseburger. Cheeseburgers are delicious. Bunnies, sheep, and pigs to me are what cheeseburgers are to you. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. That's right, a sneeze and a cup of sugar. That's what the real story is all about. Sneeze plus sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. Oh, it was my sweet granny's birthday. Oh, I was so sick. Here I am working very hard to make her a birthday cake and I ran out of sugar. Look, I was so sick. I was baking and taking my temperature at the same time. Do you see the thermometer? Oh, I was so sick. And there's my sweet little granny. Do you see my granny? Oh, it was such an exciting birthday. I had to make her something special. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? Here I am. I just needed to borrow 1 cup of sugar. You saw last night, even in the Three Little Pigs story, the straw house was already falling over before I even knocked on it. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. Straw is not a sturdy building material. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming. Well, I huffed and I snuffed. Oh. Do you know what happens next? Oh, I couldn't hold it in. And I sneezed. Achoo! A great sneeze. Oh, I sneezed so hard my glasses and bow tie flew off. Oh, goodness. I didn't even have time to cover it. Look at what happened to the remainder of the straw house. Oh, terrible accident. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. There he is. As I blow my nose. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. Would you just let a big cheeseburger just sit there? Of course not. I could not let the ham go to waste. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not too much. He had built his house out of sticks. That looks a little bit better. I rang the bell on his stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." He was shaving, in the middle of shaving. At least he answered me. I knew he was home. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. Oh no. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. Achoo! Oh no. Not again. I tried to cover it this time. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Oh, there he was. Now, you know, food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks. Oh, I'm so full. I hate having a cold. It is the worst feeling in the world. Oh. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. So I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Ugh, rude. He could have just said nothing and acted like he wasn't home. I mean, his house was made of brick. He had nothing to worry about with my cold. Ugh, rude. Talk about impolite. Somebody needed to teach him some manners. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar in his house, and he wouldn't even give me one little bitty cup, not even one little bitty cup, for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed, achoo, once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." What do you say when someone sneezes? Either nothing or bless you. And he made a comment about my sweet old dear granny on her birthday. Oh, rude. I could not believe it as I was wiping my nose. Do you see him? Does he look very polite to you? Rude. He might have the brains, but he definitely does not have the manners. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, But when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door. And the whole time, I was huffing and puffing and sneezing, achoo, and making a real sneeze. I mean, when you're sick and you're sneezy and you're mad all at the same time, what do you expect? Oh, it looked worse than it really was as they pulled up. See, I was just having a sneezing fit and mad at the same time, and the news even showed up. The rest, as they say, is history. The Big Bad Wolf. A.T. Wolf, big and bad. Oh, that's how I got the name Big Bad Wolf. That's the news for you. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar did not sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the Big Bad Wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. There's the media for you. So upset. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. I would greatly appreciate it. Here I am. The end. So that's my story. I am now locked away because I was framed by the newspaper. I guess the story of a sick wolf trying to bake a birthday cake for his dear sweet old granny just wasn't exciting enough. I hope that you now know my story and believe me in what truly happened. Thank you for listening. All right, boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed tonight's story. Not many people have heard this story before from the wolf's perspective, and this is something that we actually read and discuss in class, the different perspectives of stories based on who is telling the story. And this one is one I really do enjoy reading and discussing with my boys and girls. So I would like to hear from not just my boys and girls, but everyone. Who do you believe? Do you believe the 3 little pigs and their side of the story, their version? Or do you believe Alexander T. Wolf, known as the Big Bad Wolf, and his side of the story? Or maybe is there truth to both sides of the story? So I cannot wait to hear what you think and who you believe or what your thoughts are. I miss getting to discuss this book with my boys and girls. So this will be very fun for me to get to hear from you all. I hope that you enjoyed it. I love you, boys and girls. I hope that you have very sweet dreams. I miss you so much. Good night.